Hey everybody, I am here filming my September DNFs. So I actually had 3 DNFs in the month of September, and so I decided to go ahead and pull it out of my wrap up because my wrap up was already going to be super long as is, and 3 books is enough to talk about in a video anyway. So without further ado, here are the books that I did not finish. The first one was Allison Hewitt is Trapped by Madeleine Roux. It is the first book in the zombie series. It is a zombie apocalypse series where we follow Allison Hewitt. She happened to be working at her job in the campus bookstore at the time of the zombie apocalypse, and so that's where she ended up trapped. And she managed to get into like the military internet, I think is what they called it. I don't think it's a real thing, but um so she's updating her blog, and that's how we're actually reading all her blog posts, which I actually think is a really, really cool idea. However, I don't think that this was anything special um, in terms of a zombie apocalypse novel. I just don't think it was, it seemed very, very typical to me. Our main character, Allison, I thought was wholly unlikable. She made a lot of decisions that I really didn't understand. Or like she'd be like, hey, there are these people that are out there also alive and they're broadcasting on the radio or something like that. And she was like, I'm just not going to tell anybody else about it. I'm like, but okay, why? Okay. So so her decision making, a lot of the decisions she made, I didn't agree with. And then so I thought, okay, well, is there anybody else I like? And no, I didn't, because there's no other character that is fleshed out at this point. I don't know if I said it. I DNF'd at page 88. So if there was more character development of the secondary characters later on, I don't know about it. Um, so there were, but everybody at that point at page 88, every other character that was introduced really was there either to be an obstacle to what her decisions and plans were, or they were there to agree with her. And I didn't appreciate that. So, I mean, with it being, I didn't like the main character, the secondary characters just kind of existed. The world building, there was almost no world building, to be honest. And it's, like I said, it felt very typical zombie apocalypse. So I wasn't connecting with it. I just went ahead and put it down. However, I will say that I don't generally read zombie apocalypse novels. So if that's your thing, you may enjoy it a lot more. But because I don't normally read it, I want it to be kind of something special. And I didn't think that this was it. After that, my second DNF was Black Blade Blues by J.A. Pitts. This was a hot mess, which was kind of very sad for me because I was hoping that this was going to be amazing for 2 reasons. There are a lot of amazing things in this book. She is the main character, Sarah Bohal, I think is how you pronounce that. Is a blacksmith. She's a props manager for B movies, and she is part of the Society for Creative Anachronism. She does the Ren Fair scene. I think that these are all really cool things that you don't always get to see. However, everything else was a hot mess. It was like, but starting just with this, how it was written, the sentence structures occasionally were super problematic in that, like, I didn't understand what the author was trying to say. I would reread the sentence multiple times and then just move on. I'd give up, move on, and hope that it wasn't anything important. Um, and then, there, so the whole premise is that she lent some weapons to the B movie that she's currently working on, or currently working as a props master for, and then the blade broke and she had to go forge it, and essentially a dwarf showed up who looks like a human and said, if you forge this, you have to go slay a dragon. And she's just like, what? Whatever, dude. And she forged it anyway. And that's about the point I stopped, because I stopped at page 75. Because, like, the dwarf was there and he was being super cryptic, like he had never been around humans before, which didn't make any sense with the premise. It was clear that the people around that were close to Sarah were hiding important information from her. And then the other main part of this is Sarah being a lesbian, which was actually fine. And one of the things that really drew me to this story, it was one of the first urban fantasies that I had heard about that had an explicitly queer main character. And I was super excited about that. And it just wasn't the story that I wanted, in that she grew up super religious. And so, in the sense of, her religion said that homosexuality was a sin. And so she has to come to grips with that. And that's totally fine. I absolutely understand that. And that's not an uncommon story, right? However, it meant that in this book, she's trying to come to grips with her being, with being a lesbian while she's in a relationship with another woman. And so she was just really unhappy about the whole situation. And that's not what I wanted. It just really wasn't what I wanted. And I know that's a personal preference, and that's totally fine. But so I didn't like that part of it. And then the last really, really big gripe that I had is that it is very clear that this is a man writing. The author is a man who is writing a woman character. And I couldn't really tell you what clued me in on to this, but it was just wrong. It was there were just little bits that were not quite right. It very much felt more like what a man would expect from a woman and not what a woman actually would do. And so it was hard to connect to the main character in any meaningful way. The writing style kept bringing me out of it, unfortunately. And so and there were some tropes that I just didn't appreciate. So I just went ahead and dropped it at about page 75. And then my last DNF for the month of September was Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is book 4 in the Natural series. So the Natural series follows a group of teens who are naturally good at certain crime-solving things. So our main character, Cassie, is a natural profiler. There's another teen that is good, a natural profiler. There's a teen who is naturally good at reading emotions on people's faces. There's another one that is a really good, amazing liar and lie detector because she's so good at lying. And then the last one is naturally good at putting together crime scenes. Honestly, this was a mistake for me to even pick this up. I had wanted to finish out the series because I had actually really enjoyed book 1. Book 2 was fine. Book 3 was, I should have left it at book 3. And the reason is because there was a storyline that was put into the background and then became more prominent as the books went on that I hated. And it involved a cult, and this cult storyline, like I said, it just became more and more prominent. I really was not appreciative of it. And so I really just was hoping it would go away, and it did not go away. It is actually the main storyline. This is the last book of the series, so they needed to wrap it up, which I totally understand. And the only reason that I picked this up was because it was the last book in the series, and so I wanted to finish the series out. But it just, nothing about it was for me in that storyline. So I just, when I read 50 pages, made sure that it really wasn't what I wanted. And then I read the last 5 to 10 pages, and honestly, I'm good. I don't need to read anymore. Um, and I feel like I finished the series. So yeah, just unfortunately not a book for me. Like I said, I really shouldn't have picked it up in the first place. But that is it. Those are the 3 DNFs that I had for the month of September. That is kind of a lot for me. I usually have maybe 1 or 2, so 3 is a lot more than normal. But I hope you guys are doing well, that you're having a little bit more luck in your reading than I did. And until then, happy reading, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.